Good morning, everyone. It's Kurt Hoppy here, and today we've got a special opportunity to chat with Alec, who I just wrapped up 12 days on the ground in Bali, doing scouting for real investors. So today we're going. All right, our first morning in Bali, we've spent some time on the beach. We're taking shortcuts with our scooter. Here we're between Canggu and Sessa. The trendiest, hottest spot right now in Bali. Shopping, surfing, food. Instagrammers are coming here. So we're gonna head that way to Sessa next. We have to take some shortcuts through the alleyways. But yeah, we will keep searching for our potential VOW 100 properties. So today we're gonna talk about what we saw. Not talking about the Bali that you see on Instagram, but from 12 days on the ground on scooters, in cars, having conversations, meeting real people, touring real properties, seeing different parts of the island. So this is not theory, it's not hype. This is going to be talking about field work. So good morning and good evening, Alec. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Kurt. Actually, glad to miss you. We had a great time here together scouting. And on Swastiastu for our audience. I am Alec, and I was with Kurt in all this trip. It was a pleasure to meet him in real and to try to offer him a vision of the Island of Gods. So we did spend some time together, and we did some nice roads and drew a theoretical map on the southern and east part of the island mainly.
We'll include that in the materials to share with our investors and different people that have not had the chance yet to experience Bali themselves. I think one of the important things you and I talked about, Alec, along the way, in general, with our VOW 100 properties, which are touching different parts of the world, that if you're going to invest internationally in real estate, you have to earn the right to invest in that place. And so investing the time, putting the boots on the ground, meeting the people that have a depth and a breadth of knowledge. It's challenging for a lot of investors to make a decision on what's the right property and if it's the right property. So I very much appreciated spending the time with you over the last couple of weeks. So Alec, like tell our watchers a bit. You've lived in Bali most of your adult life, for decades. You've seen a lot of changes. What do people usually misunderstand about Bali?
Yes, I have been living in Bali since '97. Even I started to come here before, with my parents when I was a kid. So there is a long love story with this island, which of course, like most of the world, is changed. Actually, I have seen back in time a lot of pioneers from America, because of the surfing and because of this island is enclosing so many meaningful visions, from the culture, from the Balinese culture to the beautiful spots and volcano. It can encapsulate in one many things. And yes, I believe that the changing is real. You don't expect to be alone in a tropical paradise, but it's a way that the way things they changed is also very interesting because Bali could always keep his soul, and through the power of his culture, and so this make the island so precious in the world. And there is only one Bali, and very often between expat we always say, yes, we travel the world, but all the road brings to Bali. So there have been a total gigantic and monumental evolution in terms of location which develop, in terms of hotels, in terms of villa, in terms of the way tourism is changed. But basically, there are places to be visited. They are still very authentic. And even in the hotspot, well, we are there for investing. So we have a lot of people coming, the airport getting bigger. The number is like, they were crunching, they are like matching. So it's an interesting mix of authenticity and the potential for investing and making intelligent choices.
Yeah, so true. I think so. Our scouting philosophy, and I very much again appreciate your um, hospitality, your unreasonable hospitality, Alec. As we toured around the island and met people that you had, some people we bumped into on a beach that you hadn't been there in a long time, and they still remembered you, and we were able to cross paths. So I think one thing I want to emphasize for myself is that. You can't underwrite Bali as an investor just from a real estate database or
Yes,
a spreadsheet.
yes,
You actually need, when
definitely.
we say scouting, like, we're saying daily movement, right? We're talking to locals, owners, staff members. We're seeing how guests, actually behave, meeting different kinds of people. And I think it's we're able to contrast, what's just speculation versus actual observation. Some of the people we work with in our investing group talk about this phrase, boots on the ground. Some people like it, some people don't. But I think the point is, we want to go beyond just the headlines for Bali and the Instagram to the lived reality. Um, and so I think that's important. So we
Absolutely.
want to talk about some of the different things that we saw, the three different areas that we saw, because many of the people watching have not had a chance yet to visit Bali. Some people you and I talked about have visited Bali. They had a different expectation. They were a different demographic. They were looking at it in a different way, and they were surprised at some of the density of people and the ages of people and the scooters and things like that. Again, I haven't spent a lot of my life on scooters, as we call them in Bali, so small motorcycles. But I got to see very quickly, the importance of that. So I think let's dive in and say Bali is not just one market, right? And we'll share a map and kind of with some highlights. Um, and so I'm wondering what changes when people actually spend time in Bali. Let's just cover that, and then we'll go into some of the three different areas. But Alec, what changes when people spend time in Bali instead of just like on a 1 week or 2 week trip? People that stay longer, what have you seen? What changes?
Well, it's a big change because 2 weeks or 1 week tourist is going to be able only to do things in rush, and then very formal things, very catalog things. He doesn't have the time to jump into to dive deep into the rhythm of Bali, which whatever is frenetic and fast in Canggu or very slow and smooth around the valley of Ubud, whatever is the rhythm, you cannot catch it. You just are like strolling here and there and to to see the what is must have been seen, but you don't put your consciousness in that because you don't have time. Time is what is important. Whatever is super fast or whatever is super slow, you have to live it with the will to understand. And there is a lot to understand in the spot that we passed. There is a lot of nature still beautiful. There are structure that has been made by local local enterprise or foreigner, which are beautiful and stand up among the most incredible structure in the world, like Bamboo Hinda or Pyramid of Chi, all the spot we see. So let's say that the time is necessary to catch the flow. Otherwise, it's gonna be just like swiping a little bit the phone and just be terrified by traffic, which is just a small part, of the Bali experience that can be
Hmm.
totally digested in a different amount of time, and that it's totally worth to face because the beauty behind those nature and those faces of Balinese people or Indonesian are like hypes much more than the struggle to be in rush or like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So let's spend a few minutes. We don't have too much time today, but we can answer questions and provide materials for our investors later. But let's spend a couple minutes talking about the three areas and three identities. So kind of let's talk for a second
Yeah,
about Canggu, and then even though it's not the
yeah,
order we saw them, let's talk about Canggu, but then Uluwatu, and then Ubud. And then after we cover that
yeah,
and what they're known for and what's happening, then we can spend a minute or two to talk about the kinds of guests that we see that are going to visit those different places. And then we can kind of wrap up about some of the organic growth and then our strategy to start small. And then I think that'll probably take us, to the end of this session. But we can also have a live Q&A in the future. Sometimes that's helpful for investors. So let's talk about the three areas. First of all, Canggu. For me, this is like about energy and cash flow to some degree. So it's a lifestyle driven demand. There's remote workers there. There's people staying a long time. There's repeat visitors. You see cafes and gyms and co-working and kind of sticky demand. So it seems like well, we saw some numbers. It's got consistent occupancy. It's got some pricing sensitivities based on which beach you're on, right? The specific micro locations, like where you are right now versus
Yeah,
where
yeah,
we
it's very
were once or
specific.
twice, how close to the beach. And so not all of Canggu is equal, and there's these really cool shortcuts back and forth. So I guess which parts of Canggu work and which ones don't from an investment perspective. If our goal is to have high occupancy with high level rents to help our investors with cash flow as well as appreciation. So which parts do you think work versus which ones don't in Canggu? Just kind of like 1 minute, your thoughts.
My thought, Kurt, are that but Bolong, where actually we spotted that property, and it's very close to the beach, and it's very rare. It's a great starting position, because it's just next to the surf, and it's in the coolest area, basically, in the place to be. So, in your description, maybe you forget to mention that for our audience, that we have a lot of strong Russian impact in tourism, which is like an high demand, So there are always more Russian young people, 30, 35, that love to stay there because of the California, as we call, yeah. It's a mix of surfing culture, but hype, and I believe that you remember how like beautiful people around, like with nice clothes, with nice style, with nice bikes. So everybody like to spend, everybody like to be seen. It's a very hedonist. It's the hedonist part of Bali, let's say. So from my point of view, the best place would be Batu Bolong. We have alternative in a slightly far beach, which is Pantai Sese, but definitely the epicenter now is Batu Bolong. And it will move on the coast like it did before from Kuta to Seminyak to Batu Belig to Berawa. So all the village going progressively, getting far from the airport, it will be slowly, slowly built in this wave that has been consistent for already more than 20 years.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's true, and typical pricing that we saw there because we looked at a lot. Thank you for finding all of the properties and screening these out. These are typical pricing, just the ballpark, not promises. But we saw villas, which was our focus, villas rather than condos, between anywhere from 250,000 US dollars to 450,000 US dollars. As Alec mentioned, it's strong occupancy and it's liquidity because there's a lot of transactions happening there. There is some risks in some areas of overbuilding, so we want to be aware of that. We've seen some parts of the world where overbuilding can impact things like Tulum, for example. So we need some location precision. And to your point, what I found everywhere in the world, if you can walk to the beach within a couple of minutes, this is very
Yeah,
much what
yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
people are like and looking for. Let's shift quickly to Uluwatu, which is um, I
Your
felt
favorite.
and we felt that we felt at a few sunsets. It's a more premium experience than Canggu. It's some upside. There's a different audience, some of the same but different audience.
Yeah,
Um,
same but different.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say I'll ask you a question here, but I think it was a bit more experience-driven guests, higher nightly rates, higher prices, shorter stays, but more lucrative, I'd say. And what seems
Yeah,
to be
exactly.
changing is the infrastructure, the beach clubs, the beside the cliffs. I think investors like it because it feels more. It doesn't feel as dense or frenetic. It's a bit more. There's fewer units, so supply and demand, and it feels more open a bit. but there's some maybe cash flow variability, seasonality, timing. So tell me on for who chooses Uluwatu and why?
Upscaled surfer choose Uluwatu. Brazilian, American. I know many of them already many years ago in Padang Padang, Uluwatu. They do surfing contest, and the surf there is a kind of it's a kind of obsession, you know, together with wellness. And there, yes, you're right, Kurt. You know, in Uluwatu we have a little higher, like even more than Canggu. I mean, Uluwatu is the mother temple. You know, it's one of the more beautiful places in Indonesia, I would say, because those giant cliff of 100 meters facing the Indian Ocean, you can see the swell coming, the waves. I mean, it's truly magical. You know, it's truly magical for Balinese, and probably the magic the Balinese transmit to the through the dances, through the moves, goes through the expat. Of course, there is a strong expat scene. There is always monthly rental, but of course there are short rental as well. You know, it's a community. You know, it's a community based on the love for surfing as well. A little bit hedonistic, I would say, slightly less than Canggu, and it can be also like. A yoga retreat. It could be, of course, co-living. It could be
Mm.
many of the things that are trending now in Bali, and Uluwatu is the peak of it, like literally, you know, not only like in a figurative sense, but in a material sense, because it's the top spot of the Bukit, which is the south part of Bali, this dry area of Bali, with still nice jungles and incredible cliff of beaches that we saw together, like Niam Niam or Uluwatu or Padang or Dreamland. I lost you, Kurt. Meanwhile,
It's okay.
now
Yeah,
you're
you know, I
back.
just turned
Now
off.
you're back.
I turned off my video because your internet was needing a few extra, a bit more bandwidth.
Okay,
But
yeah.
yeah, Uluwatu was great, and again,
Uluwatu, yes,
just
and I was very happy.
the quality of the I'm not the visual. Let's call it the visual quality of the people, and the way they dress, and it's again more upscale and clearly, and some of the
Also, the
prices as we
sunset
saw
clubs, you know, these
at the
places
Sunset Clubs. Amazing,
on the cliff, you know, they're beautiful.
amazing.
They are
Yeah,
not just like places. They're made with architecture. They're made with love. You know, they are something that is very difficult to find. Imagine how can you find in a place a cliff 150-meter tall with such a beautiful structure and beautiful people. I mean, this is Shazam. You know, like
yeah,
a kind of unique
yeah,
configuration.
exactly. And I'm excited we did not start our search looking for a boutique hotel, but thankfully, thanks to you and your contacts, you know, we found a candidate that's in this area, general area. So we'll come back to that another time. But it's you know, I'm excited about that opportunity we found in that area as well. Let's finish off with Ubud, which is, of course, well, I won't say of course. For people that don't know, they've seen some movies, they've seen Eat, Pray, Love, they've seen some visuals of this place. It's about culture and wellness. It's not so much about nightlife. It's about meaning, deeper
But the
meaning.
restaurants, don't forget the restaurants, yeah, high quality
Oh yes,
restaurants.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, longer stays though. The again from the investor perspective, so it's an amazing place, like all of Bali. But from an investor lens, it's maybe lower nightly rates, so some longer average stays. We came across some beautiful properties where people from Europe, people from the U.S., both working professionals and semi-retired, newly retired, are staying for months. Sometimes some people renting for years, and so there's this really emotional, much more emotional connection and loyalty vibe in Ubud,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
so
exactly.
and the
Emotional
cultural
connection.
depth.
That's the right word.
Yeah, so the story and the experience and the cultural depth is different there. So why do people come to Ubud, Alec, and why do they stay there?
Of course, they come to Ubud because it's the heart of Bali culture. You know, you won't see in Ubud a mix like of Islam and Hinduism. You will see only pure Hinduism. They have a lot of temple, there are a lot of palace, there are a lot of ceremonies there, and this kind of audience that we have there are interested in understand what Bali people do to be so special. Why are so special? Because Balinese are special because they manage to preserve their culture in hundreds of years. First from the colonies that they were the last to be colonized, and then also from Islam, somehow because for historical reason before Indonesia were mostly Hindu. Anyway, Bali is the core. Bali is the core, and people love experience carve wood carving, mask carving, painting, and then a lot of workshop like hypnosis, breath work, yoga, of course. We can say that is the world capital of wellness. We can say that with mathematical precision.
Hmm. Even
And
sound
then,
therapy. So it's very,
sorry, Kurt.
yeah,
So, yes, and then among of them, there are places that are also a little bit new age. So there are a projection in the future, or what is this kind of very, very conscious care for the self, that want to expand using different ways. Now we have sound healing of all kind, low vibration, high vibration. We have cacao ceremony. We have all the possible things, crystallotherapy that can involve people in knowing the self in a different way, in a completely different way, which is good to experiment because it's a healthy way to, I believe, to expand the consciousness. And Ubud is the place, I believe, and many people as well as two persons that we met in the property, that it's a good spot to get a better version of yourself.
yeah, yeah. Definitely. Again, as we talked about, one of my friends from Austin, here in Austin, Texas, she's a CEO of a company. She's coming with a group of three or four or five other professional women from Austin, Texas, to go for a couple of 1 or 2 weeks to Ubud for yoga retreat and mindfulness. So yeah, it's an interesting place, and it's centrally located in essentially the middle of the island. So from that staging point, you and I went to the northern eastern coast. You can
Yeah,
go to the ocean for a day trip. You can go to the
yeah,
volcano. You can go in different directions. So it's a
yeah,
great
yeah.
center place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did some experience with Kurt because from the scooter we switched to the car. So once we reach Booth, we stay a couple of nights there, and then we shoot up to the Tenggalan rice field. We stopped by one worker actually, and I've been working with these people for 25 years. I show him to Kurt how is the Balinese house, etc., etc. Then we went up to Batur, the volcano. There are three volcanoes in Bali: Batukaru, Batur, Agung. So this is the second, where there is a big caldera, which is an incredible place. Actually, for me, Kurt knows I'm very, very, very attached to that place for many reasons. Anyway, from then we passed by the mother temple of Besaki, and then after that we shoot back again to the north part, very quiet part of Bali, Amet, Tulambeng, Amet, where there is a great diving and dolphin. There are dolphins. There are very beautiful scuba diving. Quiet atmosphere. There are those swings, for Instagram lovers. There is a lot of everything, but very quiet. There is a part which is also almost like a savanna. You have a beautiful view of the volcano from the other side, which is even more impressive because you have it just on top. So yes, Ubud is in the center, and within 1 hour, 1 hour 50 region for Virgin Beach, there is Aman Hotel, this famous chain of five-star hotel. And there are other interesting places. There are the boat they're leaving for the Gili, small islands attached to Bali in the tourist circuit. So Ubud is strategic, yes, definitely.
Yeah, thanks, Alec. All right, I'm gonna start to bring us to a conclusion here because we're a little bit over time, but there's so much to talk about and experience in Bali. So let me summarize a couple of things. So, as an investment, thanks, Alec, for the background. So we hinted at these different kinds of guests. So in terms of risk reduction, in terms of investment in a place, we love that in Bali, there's multiple guest types, right? So it's not one dimensional at all. There's short stays we talked about, there's long stays, there's nomads that are there because it's still quite affordable, even though it's not as affordable as it used to be. You can find affordable places. So there's digital nomads, there's experienced travelers. So we like that when demand is diversified, the risk for the investors drops down. So it's different than in some parts of the world or some parts of North America. There's like one kind of tenant in a market or seasonal where there's only one season. So we think we've seen a rise in Bali, resilient year after year. Alex been there; he's seen it rising, especially started to accelerate in the last 10 to 12 years when some people started to learn a bit more. So really what we like in terms of that diversification of the people groups is that it's organic growth, not speculation. Prices are rising, but it's because of real demand and real better infrastructure is being put in place. We saw some, construction and improvement, but still trying to keep Bali authentic. So and we're starting to see some places higher development quality. Maybe Alec, this feels like structural growth, not a flip market for sure, but maybe you can mention very briefly if you see any changes about or rumors and changes about a new airport, the improvements to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
roads, and
actually,
and you hinted at some international brands and communities already.
yeah, actually, you read my mind because I mean, there is the rumors of a new airport in the north, but I also read an article a couple of days ago. So now we got 26 million passenger
Yeah,
coming, which is
annual visitors. Yeah, yeah, through the airport, through the one airport. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But then I read today that they're going to expand because they have as a threshold, as a target, 42 million. So
Wow.
yeah, it's quite a lot, you know. So I don't know. They still don't not sure yet if they want to do two airports or just make this airport bigger. For my experience, I think they want to make another airport because this is already big, and I don't know where the space to extend it. So probably they will do another airport in the north, in Ahmed or that part, because there is a lot of demand from all over the world, also a lot of demand from local. So they building new resort, Regent, new Marriott. I was just today walking and passing by in Batu Belik before Canggu, and they are ready to prepare the new Marriott. And then, as we saw, the Anantara, another big project in Sesai. So it's kind of pumping, you know, somehow.
Hmm.
And they want people with a certain amount of money. They probably will be tired of backpackers soon because they had it for so many years. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, this is the trend. And we forget to mention also, Kurt, that we are in partnership with Andrea. That is also quite important note to tell to our friends that are following this podcast.
100%. So I think yeah, let's wrap up with that. So I guess to reiterate, this is definitely feeling like structural growth again from one of our advisors that Alec has known for decades, very good friend and someone that's very successful locally that built. We toured his villas down in Seminyak, but we see the structural growth yeah, along the beach to the west and northwest, and we can see Sessa coming right in 6 months, 12 months, years, like you mentioned, a major resort owned by. Some Russian investors, Antara, and you can just see the construction and some of the properties we saw. We know that 1 year from now, and 2 years from now, and 3 years from now, it's going to be better in that area. We can see this Uluwatu Bingen area. We see this coming. So it's not a flip market.
No, it's not.
And and yeah. So, but I think that to wrap up what Alec was alluding to, and what we love about our VOW model, the VOW 100 model, is that we are looking for long-term presence in places. We're looking for local experiences that surface the deep history and the deep stories from a different place and the local people. And having someone like Alec there with long-term presence and to coordinate the team from an operations perspective later is just amazing. And we're so grateful for Alec and for Andrea who's our advisor in the area, who's already successful for decades. So information in Bali moves through people, I think, more than through platforms. And so Alec has the people connection there. And the intent is for us to start small and scale smart. So we're not buying everything at once. We found several potential assets that we're looking at right now. We're going to share those with our investors and the reasons why we think, two or three properties make sense to start with. We want to make sure that the investors can preserve their capital. They can learn, of course, that they want to come experience and visit the place. I already recommended to all three of my children that they've got to get to Bali. They're all in there.
Especially one.
They're all in their 20s, mid to late 20s. So our strategy there is it's a portfolio strategy. It's not a lottery ticket. Um, we think Bali is for long-term thinkers. It's for lifestyle and yield investors that want return and that people want to learn about a new system. There are some special things in Bali that are not the same as other places, and Alec and Andrea can guide us there. And again, a summary, this is not for spreadsheet-only investors or short-term flippers or people chasing hype. We think Bali, will reward patience and presence and relationships, not shortcuts. So any final words, Alec? We're a little bit over, but any final words that you want to leave with our investors? We'll share materials, we'll share some pictures, and maybe we'll come back and do a live Q&A if we need to. But any final words for now?
The final words is that I'm also grateful for the time we spent together and the opportunity to show to our friends a place that undeniably I love and that made myself the person I am now. I learned a lot from Balinese, the art, the culture, and through their experience and through their knowledge, I managed to make my brand. So I'm always grateful to Bali, and it would be amazing for me to help Valve to share such a unique spot in Southeast Asia that could be the starting path for a different sort of mission of Valve in Asia. So expand, especially for American people that might think that Bali is very far, but it is not. Like I think it's much closer than what they think, and it's going to be even more close to their heart once they will embrace the culture and the vibes.
Yeah, yeah. Well said. So we'll share some information with people. Thank you, Alec, for your time,
My
both in the
pleasure.
last 2 weeks and all the kilometers we drove and the adventures that we
We
had.
should do more scouting
We'll
together, Kurt. We should
I
do more
agree.
scouting together. I really
I
enjoy it.
agree. I've got a call coming up today. We talked a bit about some of the places we're looking at in Africa for the VOW 100 portfolio. If anyone wants more information, they can also go to vowinternational.com or soon vowglobal.com to learn a bit more about the portfolio. And if they want to put their own properties into this mix, because we believe in experiences and guided local experiences as technology automates more things. We think people want to go experience places, learn about, and we have a method to teach people and guide people, especially on their first trip. But when they come back, like they certainly will want to come back to Bali. So, thanks, Alec. I'll wrap us up here now,
My
but
pleasure. My pleasure.
we'll talk to you soon. Take care, Alec. Bye.
Bye bye. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.